Next, I would like to introduce jazz performer Jamie Mitges. At age 6, Jamie was playing the piano and steeped in his parents' classic blues and jazz albums. Some of his childhood heroes were Louis Armstrong, Glen and Count Basie. Hello, Jamie.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, Jamie. Can you share?
Hi, Dari-Lynn.
How you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, we're happy to have you on, and you're in Toronto, aren't you?
I'm in a city just outside Toronto, Guelph. We're about 60 miles away, so very close to Toronto, yes.
Awesome. Jamie, can you share a little more about your childhood and the influence that music had on it, and also what it has on you now?
Certainly. Growing up, my grandmother was a concert pianist, and so always going over and visiting, I would sit on my grandmother's knee, and she'd play, Chopin, Bach, all of the classics, and it was just, I was just so intrigued watching her play and listen to her beautiful music, and so every time we'd go over and everybody would be out in the other room watching TV, I'd sort of sneak into the, where the piano was and start playing and having fun. So, so I started quite young with the passion for music. And as I got older, I was listening to my parents' record collection of Glen, Count Basie, Louis Armstrong. And I always loved jazz. I love classical, but just something with the rhythms and the music really touched me. And so, starting, I was actually trying to learn blues and things like that on the piano as a youngster, and trying to figure out, how what these great performers were doing. And it was so much fun to grow up with that, all of that music in the house, and so that was sort of, my beginnings with the music and surroundings and getting used to it. So
well, I'd like to let the listeners know, Jamie, that in the background we hear one of your songs on saxophone, When Sunny Gets Blue.
Yes. I was so blessed to have Peter Appleyard on vibes, Don Thompson on bass, Ed Bickert on guitar, and Joe LaBarbera on drums. So we did this February 24th, 1994, and it was my first CD, and I'm playing tenor on this CD. It was a dream come true for me because I'd known these musicians and idolized them, all my life growing up. Peter had played with Benny Goodman and with Frank Sinatra. Ed Bickert and Don Thompson are like the two jazz giants in Canada for playing with Mo Kaufman, the Boss Brass. Duke Ellington, they've affiliated, they've done some things with. And, of course, Joe LaBarbera, he played with Chuck Mangione, was with the last Bill Evans trio, and was on the road for 10 years with Tony Bennett. So I was just in the studio. I was like, I couldn't play. I was just like, I can't believe I'm in studio with all these great musicians. But, they made me feel at ease. And as a young guy coming in, they just, they welcomed me, and they made me feel, relaxed. And, that's why, I put on my CD that we all produced it, because everybody was there, saying, well, let's try it this way, so everybody had input. It was just a wonderful collaboration of a good time. So it was actually a party. What you're listening to is a big party that we had.
Great.
That's the way to do it.
Definitely.
Now,
collaboration.
Jamie, I understand that you're proficient in both saxophone and piano, and you have actually in the past alternated between the two. But in 1995, you were diagnosed with arthritis and fibromyalgia.
Yes.
And I believe you gave up the sax during that time, but you still continue to play the piano.
Yes. In 1995, I've been experiencing chronic pain for quite some time, and it progressed, and to the point where in 95 I was diagnosed, and it got ever so more difficult to play the tenor because of the weight and things like that. So I actually moved to the smaller horn to see how that would, work with the pain. And over a course of, the next 4 years, trying to do different things with therapy and moving to the smaller horn, I actually had to totally give it up in 2000. It was just every time I would play, I would be, even if it was for like a half an hour, I would be having a really bad flare-up for about, a few days after. So, it's one of those things. You get a lemon, you make lemonade. So I tried to take something that was handed to me and see what blessings could come out of it. And so, I thank God that I was still able to play piano. I'm still able to compose. So I said, I'm going to take this and turn this into a positive. And so I concentrated on my piano playing and my composing. So to where it has taken me today, where I've been writing and releasing solo piano works and composing, and to where now I was able to do a session in Los Angeles just in July. So I was. If you would have told me a few years ago when I was diagnosed where this would have led me, it's one of those things where one door closes, another door opens. So I looked at it and said, okay, let's see how we can take this and make something really happy from and take the pain and turn it into pleasure, and just sort of change the direction of what's happening. And July, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is Dr. James here, and I'm just going to talk to you. I also was diagnosed with fibromyalgia several years ago.
Oh, boy.
And I will tell you this. I was on heavy medication for it, and I finally found a doctor who did a lot of blood work and found out I was deficient in several vitamins. And it's amazing when your body is depleted of certain vitamins, how when you start taking the supplements that are necessary, how it completely can turn the whole thing around. Right. So I don't know what your background is or if you're taking medication or not, but you might go to someone and request that they do a background on your blood work and see what vitamins you're deficient in. Most doctors don't do those tests unless you ask.
Exactly. And I've been on a mission since being diagnosed with this, where I've done like the chiropractic, the acupuncture, massage therapy. Exercise is a big part of this. You have to keep moving, even if it's just doing the treadmill. You have to keep the blood flowing and keep the muscles moving so that things keep working and strengthening. I do very gentle exercise. I have had that happen. I have had the results where I'm taking all of the antioxidants and things like that to help my body and to nourish the cells. One of the things with fibromyalgia, it's trauma that, as you know, James, it's either a severe trauma or a head injury. And when I was a youngster, I had received about 3 concussions at a very young age, and the last one it was very bad. And from all of the doctors, what they're saying and what's happened, they say sometimes if you've received a brain injury, something happens with the neurons there that the muscles they're not getting the right messages, and because we've tried so much with what I have, they're tending to think that it's because of that injury that I'm not getting the response from everything, even though I'm doing the vitamins and the exercise and and diet is such a huge part of it as well.
I know.
Like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I drink very little pot once in a blue moon. And,
no bad habits then. That's good. Hey, Jamie, one thing I do admire is that you're staying positive, having this disease, and you will do well because of the positive attitude.
Thank you.
I don't know if you're listening, but we're now playing A Gift of Love, where you're playing, this is a song you composed, and you're playing piano on.
Yes.
Actually, you have composed and released 4 solo piano recordings since February 2012.
I just released the 5th last week.
Awesome.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
What has that experience been like, and what are you working on right now?
It's been a very spiritual experience for me. I try to take all of I can only write from my soul, and just with the experiences that I've gone through in life. And you know, I have two young boys, Peter and David, and I'm married to the most amazing woman, Annelle. And so all of my love that I have with my family, and in fact, the CD A Gift of Love is dedicated to my family. Actually, all of my CDs are dedicated to my family because that's my inspiration. So I take the love I have for my family and put it into my music, and it's just been a glorious experience. Yeah.
It's all about passion. When we talked on the telephone, you mentioned to me about working with Patty Austin and Earth, Wind and Fire. Tell our listeners a little bit about that.
Well, I have an amazing producer by the name of Rodrigo Rios, and he's in Brazil. And we had talked and told him about my music, and between the two of us, we put this recording session together. And Patty Austin is singing one of my compositions, Life's Joy and Celebration, and she actually wrote the lyrics. And the horn section is a lot of the same players that have played or do play with Earth, Wind and Fire. And so we just did that in July, and it was just the most amazing time just to see these, you know, people I've listened to all my life in studio playing my music. It was tremendous, you know. So we're hoping to have the single for Patty come out soon, and then I'm back in session in November. We're going to be completing the CD, and it should be released probably the middle of January.
Well, we'll have to have you back on after that for sure.
Well, thank you.
So, Jamie, where can we learn more about your music?
I have a website, which is www.jamiemitges.com, and that's Mitges. And on my site, you'll be able to go to, like, there's CD Baby that has my music, as well as iTunes, and plus there's information about myself and all of the other musicians that I've, you know, worked with and collaborated with. And it's, as we are speaking, it is being updated with the most current information. But yeah, I would say that would probably be the best place to learn more about my music and things like that, for sure.